I would say this is, I don't know if it's even my favorite, but it was the most transformative scene in the Cowboy Bebop movie, when Spike is in the cell opposite Elektra, and we're talking about lost love and pain. That was a different thing for Spike to have to do. He was, cool, calm, and sort of aloof through most of the rest of the series. That particular scene was where I honestly learned how to act, and Mary was the one who guided me through that process, because it required me to be vulnerable as a person to pull that off. And I wasn't used to doing that. I was brought up in a family where a man being vulnerable was, not necessarily a good thing. I always wanted to be that, but I didn't really have a forum for expressing that. And this actually gave me a place where I could be vulnerable and talk about stuff that was really deep and painful. And I had to summon that from personal experience, and it was a very, very uncomfortable thing for me to do.
And I wouldn't settle, like I was saying, let's go again.
Yeah.
We're gonna go again, dig deeper, just trust that it's okay.
Yeah, and to do something in my own speaking voice, which Spike is very close to my own speaking voice, was a very difficult thing for me to do anyway. I was more comfortable doing some big kind of creature thing. Speaking my own voice meant that I had to actually tap into real emotion, and that took it a step further. So that was probably, I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite thing, but it was the thing that propelled me into everything else. So in that respect, as painful as it was most profound in my career. Thank you. You want to take one?
Right here, front.
Just out of curiosity, in your D&D home game, can you do a voice for your character?
Yes,
We both do.
It's basically Auburn. He's drunk all the time. He has a girlfriend named Gladys who happens to be a wild boar. We don't even want to go there, but we all do voices. That's the beauty of this, is that we can act out these characters and flesh them out as we create them. So it's really fun.
I do a wild sorcerer. The normal side of her is Griffin, and she sort of sounds like Queen Elizabeth from the Crown. But when the wild sorcerer comes out, she goes, "Jersey, how you doing? Hey, perfect dance, right? My people." So it's fun. It's a very weird one.
You'll get a roll. You'll get a roll.
You get a roll. You get initiative. You.
I like.
You.
Dead. You
Dead. You dead. You dead. And she swears a lot, which I won't do.
It's fantastic.
Because I grew up in New Jersey, and we just went to Queens to do a convention there, and I just like, wow, I have not been back in this part of the world in a long time, and it really comes back. You can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl, so it's a nice little homage to my roots.
Yep. How about you, Rick, back there, sir, all the way back?
Yeah.
Now, I know you both are playing different mediums and projects and like movie versus show with anime, and also music with blog and
Hey, represent.
Yeah.
Swag.
Do you guys have, like, are you within your own preferred medium, or do you really just totally getting all this sort of experience?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. We're so lucky to be able to sing and to act and to direct. And then, we're up at Universal Studios Hollywood watching Bobby's Logic's he's about to do this new video, and he's just like, "Do you want to be in it?" And I was like, yeah, let's be in that. He goes, "Okay." And I'm wearing platform flip-flops. He goes, "Stand over there and run towards camera." We're in the War of the Worlds set, and it's all, and there's fire, and it's like the plane has just crashed and everything, and she's like, "You're freaking out. You've got your son in your lap that he's warning over, and it's just like, and go." And it just goes to Steve. I was like, "This is the best day. Oh my God, this is amazing." I mean, it was so much fun. So yeah, we're really lucky to be able to do so many different things, which is good for me. I think I would get bored. I did work a real job once when I was a kid, and I just thought, no, it's not for me. I need diversity. I need to shift gears a lot. It sparks my brain more than focusing on one thing for a very long time. I'm good in mass, like microburst show. I've got a 4-hour session, boom, onto the next, boom, onto the next. So my brain works really well that way.
Yeah, that's how I function best too. And Logic, we call him Bobby. He's a family member to us now. He's such a great example of the crossover that's occurring now in the convention scene. It used to be that gaming was sort of its own thing, anime was its own thing, the rest of pop culture was its own thing, and certainly rap music was the other side of the globe from that. And I went to New York Comic Con with Bobby when we were just about to release Incredible True Story. And this was 2 albums ago, for those of you who don't know Logic's work. But we went to New York Comic Con, and he's a big nerd. He loves video games, he loves anime, and when I first met him, he was screening anime on his wall.
But he contacted you because he was such a huge Bebop fan.
Bebop fan, that's what brought us together. And it was amazing going to New York Comic Con, and Bobby, it was his dream to actually do a panel there. And he finally achieved enough success in something where he could do his own panel, and he just called the shots. And he said, well, my goal is really to bring gamers and all the nerdy people that I love and the rap community together in one room and see what that looks like. And it was the most remarkable thing. You see these hardcore hip-hop fans who would be all swagged out, and then you see people in full cosplay, and they're sort of intermingling in the room, and you see people, it was almost like the chocolate and peanut butter commercials, where you got some of that anime in my hip-hop, and you got some of that hip-hop in my anime, and people were all of a sudden, you know, like hardcore hip-hop fans were going, well, I've secretly liked anime my whole life, but I couldn't tell any of my friends, and the anime goes, well, no, I bump it every day, but I can't talk to my friends about that, and it was the most amazing thing just to see these communities who would never ordinarily talk to one another start having conversations. And that's kind of what his whole philosophy is. It's really about bringing people together. And
you realize that the divides between us really aren't that great at all.
They don't have to be.
They don't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful thing. That's why I love diving in and out of all these different mediums. I'm a 57-year-old dude working on a hip hop album. I mean, how does that even happen?
Yeah. It's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah.
And you're never too old for anything. You're never too old to find love.
Absolutely.
You're never too old to be inspired, to create, to do anything. Age is always perceived as like, well, once you become 50, that's it. Well, I turned 51 in 2 weeks, and it's like, I'm just getting started, and it feels amazing. So you got a lot of time to do what you want to do. Don't ever feel like you have to give up on anything.
Yep.
Yeah. In the back. Yeah.
Hi, I was just wondering, has there been so many voice acting roles, has there ever been one that you've heard really gotten?
If we didn't book.
Batman. I should have played Batman. No, I don't know. I'm happy. I feel like I'm so lucky to get to do what I do. So yeah, I mean, no, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have that problem either. I never expected to be able to do this as a career. I had 5 other careers before I did this, and to get to do this every day, I don't lust after other roles. And at this point in my career, one of my friends is usually playing one of those other roles anyway, so I don't want to either take it away from them or even try. And I thought early in my career that I would be right. She said Batman, but for me, that was my favorite superhero growing up. And I had the natural voice print. I thought I could do a good job as Batman until I heard Kevin Conroy. And I went, oh, no, he's my Batman.
Joker is like, oh, that's Mark Hamill. Of course it is. There's no guess.
But having said that, I still love buying action figures of my characters. So I was able to play Lego Batman. I was the original Lego Batman, who was nonverbal. He was just, But because I played that, I could go to the store and buy the action figure and put it on my shelf, and that was good enough for me.
To me now, it's more about working with certain people than it is playing certain roles. You know, someday I want to so badly work with Steven Spielberg. My whole life, I'm a Spielberg baby. I grew up with E.T. and Poltergeist and Close Encounters, and it's just, he's my dream. He would be my dream to work with anything, you know, with Steven Spielberg. Andrea Romano just retired, and she and I would talk all the time as directors, but I never got to work with her as an actor, and I'm sort of sad that I didn't get a chance to do that. So for me, it's about working with people, specific people or anybody, you know, but as opposed to worrying about roles that I didn't get, because there's so much, and there's, you know, you worry so much about, oh, I didn't get that role, but all of a sudden I'm the first female governor in Star Wars, you know, that's huge. That's huge. And she's a terrible human being. She has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. She craves power and she's ineffective. Yes! You know, it's so, for everything, I think you would be so focused on the negative as opposed to, again, being grateful for the positive and what you do get to do. And I think that's what makes you more, as me, a more sane human being. You know, it was terrible mic technique. Yeah.
Who's been your favorite fellow voice actor to work with besides each other, and who have you always wanted to work with?
Oh man, there are so many people that Roger Craig Smith makes me laugh so darn hard, and Kevin Michael Richardson, and Clancy Brown, Lauren Bailey, Kari Wahlgren. There are too many.
My list is like 100 people long.
I know.
But the one that I geeked out over probably the most would have been Frank Welker.
Oh yeah.
For those of you who aren't familiar with Frank's work, he did basically every animal sound in every Disney film you've ever heard. And he was the Cave of Wonders, he was Flit from Pocahontas, he's done everything. He was Free Willy, he's the voice of Scooby-Doo and Freddy. He's royalty in our community, and I worked with him on Scooby-Doo, and the first day that I went to our session, I was terrified, and I was going through my little fanboy moment and trying to keep it down so that I could function. And at the first break, I had to go over to him and introduce myself. And he said, "Welcome to the community." He goes, "You're great. You're doing really, really good work here. And if you ever need advice on how to negotiate this community, here's my phone number." And I went, "What? This guy is a god. And he's so nice. How could this happen?" And it really solidified my opinion of the voiceover community.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not whether somebody is famous or not, it's whether they're nice and they're talented and they're doing a good job and they're giving their all in the booth. And they're just kind to the other actors or kind to the engineer or kind to the receptionist as they go in. I pay attention to all of that. And if they're just genuinely good people, I want to have them in my life. And so he was the bucket list for me. And the other person I would say that I didn't get to meet but I really would have loved to work with was Robin Williams. Because I was such a big fan of his, and I finally got to the point in my career where I thought maybe he'll come in on one of these shows, and just didn't have that opportunity, so that was sad for me. But every day we get to work with some of the most talented people in the world, everybody on our list and another 500 people on my list, that I'm constantly amazed by the level of quality of voices that these guys have created, ladies and men, and in between sometimes. And creatures and every other distinction. But they're just such an amazing, warm, wonderful, talented group of people that half the time I'm sitting there so mesmerized by their performance, it's hard for me to go up to the microphone and perform, so I have to get over that moment. It's a wonderful community to work in.
Yeah, it really
You
is.
had your hand up for a very long time. Yes. Straight to the face, Shepard. Grunt is an awesome character, and honestly, I don't really remember individual scenes. I'm not a gamer, so I haven't played it since I recorded it. What I remember is them giving me a stack of paper that thick and having to get through 1,000 lines in a session. But I do remember in the DLC, Grunt was called upon to say some really awkward, fun, silly things. I don't remember individual lines, but everything about that character was wonderful. The writing was so great. And my director at the time, especially initial recordings, Jeannie McSwain, really did a great job of giving me the context for the character. You know, as a giant warrior baby, basically. There's nothing better than that. So yeah, I don't remember individual lines, but it was a great experience all the way around.
Yes. Yeah, I heard they're doing more. I don't know. I've been out of the anime world for a little bit, and I just don't know. People have asked me now recently more and more whether or not we're going to be doing Code Geass. My hope is that we do get to, because I loved playing Cornelia. She was wonderful. She was really fun, and it's always fun to pound on Johnny Bosch as much as possible. It's a good time, and he can take it.
So I don't know if it goes to Texas. I'm hoping if Funimation gets it, that they'll give us a chance to do it. But it really just sort of depends on the company, on where it lands. And I'm not sure who's going to be dubbing it if they do dub it. So
It's not up to us, we're just voice monkeys.
Yeah.
We're just lucky if they hire us.
yeah,
So they don't tell us anything ahead of time either. We know less than you guys do, I'm sure.
yeah. You guys end up knowing a lot more about everything than we do, which is wonderful. We're so grateful.
One of the reasons we come to conventions is to learn about our own career.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember you talking about when you're working with kids how honest they are with you. I have a small human that imitates voices and she loves acting, but the moment you get her in front of someone, she's super shy.
Yep.
Is there a way to be constructive with a small person who wants to do what you guys do?
Well, voiceover sounds perfect for her because she doesn't have to be in front of anybody. She can just be in a booth by herself and let her go to town. That way she's not, doesn't have to deal with the fear of being in front of a room full of people by any means. You know, and let her build her confidence that way. Maybe.
All right, because I'll tell her like, oh, that was great. She goes, no, that was horrible. Like, or that was super ugly. And I was just, oh, okay,
Well,
good job.
one of the great things that I used to do with kids was just to keep it in the context of play. And I think the best performances we get out of adult voice actors is when we can find that key to unlock their sense of play, whatever that is for them. And they have to be able to go back to that childlike place. So if the pressure, if your little one is feeling pressure that this has to be good or bad, maybe just take that out of there and just say, have fun. Really, it's just about playing. And that pressure starts to melt away as long as they're just having fun and they don't feel like they have to do or be anything except for themselves. And I don't know if that will help, but that works for me, and it seems to work for a lot of people. And I think that's one of the reasons there is so much anxiety in the world today, is that people, when they grow up, forget how to play. It's so important. And it's a way where it's a great equalizer too. If everybody's playing and not afraid of looking stupid, we're all the same. We all make the same mistakes. We all fall down. We all do really stupid things. And if we can just own that and be who we are, it takes all that pressure away. So maybe just take away the words good and bad, or anything that has to do with any expectation on that performance, and just let's play. Let's just have fun.
We were in, as I said, we were in Hawaii, and we met this great dive master named Flipper. And he said, so if you want the dolphins to come and play with you, don't sit there quietly and stare at them. Be goofy, be silly, play, because they'll want to come and play with you. So the metaphor is, if you want the dolphins to come and play with you, then you go and play with the dolphins.
Yeah.
Keep it playful.
Yeah, roll around on the floor and be just as goofy as the kid is, and
Yeah.
they'll follow suit. It makes it okay for them.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully that helps. You got your hand up.